Okay, we are now live. Welcome to another session of Star Trek Neutral Zone. My name's Fred. I'm the Game Master. I'm going to start out with a quick recap of the previous episode, and then we'll jump into the very first scene of the current episode. So previously on Star Trek Neutral Zone, Starbase 23 received an emergency transmission from a freighter approaching at high warp, indicating the crew and passengers had suffered a viral outbreak. You met the freighter in a runabout to find that nearly everyone aboard had succumbed to the disease, with the exception of a human boy who appeared to be unharmed. Lieutenant Chisurch found the craft's warp engines on the verge of a catastrophic breach. He had attempted repairs, but ran out of time. You managed an emergency beam out to save Lieutenant Chisurch, but the explosion crippled your runabout. You discovered the boy, named Marin, had been cloned and genetically designed by Romulans to carry a host of deadly viruses. With the runabout's quarantine fields deactivated in the explosion, you've now been exposed. Meanwhile, Lieutenant Commander Holm, who remained on the starbase, questioned Kacia, a mysterious Romulan who had disavowed her citizenship to the Empire to become a freighter captain in the Federation. Learning of Marin's discovery, Kacia warned that many people could die if she's not allowed to see this child. So let me set the stage for you guys. You are currently in a quarantined med lab aboard Starbase 23. You have all been exposed to this virus. Currently, the people in the room would be Commander Styles, whose player could not be with us tonight. So he suffered an injury in the warp core breach in the explosion when the runabout was damaged. So we'll say that he is kind of on bed rest and not really able to participate. He's unconscious. Lieutenant Chisurch, you're in the room, as well as Marin and Dr. Stanislov. You guys have been exposed to this virus. You've been exposed to literally scores of viruses. Some of them you recognize, some of them have been genetically engineered, and you're starting to manifest symptoms. Your skin is starting to get pale. Veins are starting to kind of stick out and protrude. It looks a lot like the people you saw who had died on the freighter. So we'll pick it up right there. How are you guys reacting to this rather dire situation?
I'm thinking not well. I'm a little concerned, but I've got faith in the medical staff, provided they fix things quickly.
Yeah, and Lieutenant Chisurch, you were the one who discovered Marin, this 10-year-old human boy who's been cloned by the Romulans, and actually you're the one who put the comm badge on him to save him from the doomed freighter, and so he knows that, and he's kind of sticking kind of close to you. He seems to take some comfort in your presence.
I'll let him. He obviously needs a little bit of help to get through this, and quite honestly, so do I. So we'll stick together.
Cool. And Yong, our newcomer tonight, who was gracious enough to fill in on short notice, you're playing Dr. Melvin Stanislov. You're a medical doctor who's also been infected by these Romulan engineered diseases or Romulan engineered viruses. How are you feeling about this?
I feel cruddy about it. Those damn Romulans to engineer a little boy to infect us this terrible virus. Well, I think, Lieutenant, that we might be able to reverse engineer what they've done to the boy. Manon, is that your name?
It's Marin.
Marin. I'm sorry. I'm just terrible with the name. You know, I mean, I was never good with, girls and meeting small people like you. And well, I mean, it's very awkward for me to interact with the likes of you. But anyway, Lieutenant, let me just talk to you because I'm just not good at talking to small children. I think should we talk over there? Where the boy really can't hear us.
Sure. Let's get somebody to take a look at him though. Keep him occupied.
I think that we might be able to get a tissue sample from the boy and try to isolate the location of the genetically modified sequence in his DNA. And so long as we can identify it, we might be able to reverse engineer it, try to design our own vaccine or some sort of a cure for what we're going through right now.
I'd like to help, but I'm an engineer, not a doctor, damn it.
Ah, oh well. I just need your authorization that, we might be able to, we could take a small tissue sample from the boy because I just can't deal with them. The small tykes, they scream and,
Sure.
you know how it is. Yeah,
I'll stay with him just to keep him calm.
sure. All right. All right. Sounds great. So the doctor looks around and grabs his tricorder and walks up to the boy and looks at the boy. Well, it may hurt or it may not. I just don't know because I've never done it to myself. And he hints at the lieutenant to talk to the boy because he's just terrible at talking to small children.
Yeah, I got that.
And then he zaps something. Oh, how does the boy react?
So he is actually quite accustomed to being poked and prodded by medical equipment. And so he actually he sees that he knows exactly what you're doing. He's been asked to submit tissue samples literally his entire life. And so he's quite cooperative.
Oh, great.
He says,
Fantastic.
I appreciate what you're doing, doctor. Whatever you need, I'm happy to help. I wouldn't even have survived that explosion if it hadn't been for you Starfleet officers.
Are you serious? Really? I mean, okay. You're the first boy that I ever talked to that takes this very confidently. Well, anyway, let's take a look at your tissue sample here. And then he goes over there and tries to stick it into the analyzer and find out what he could isolate.
Yeah, you bet. So, Dr. Stanislov, I'm going to need you to give me a reason plus medicine task. So you'll take your reason attribute number and add it to your medicine discipline number, and that will give you your target number.
That's my 14 is my target number.
Okay, so now you'll roll 2 d20s, and anything that is a 14 or lower is a success. You need 1 success.
He fails miserably. He rolls 20 one time and 11 the other time, rolling 31 total.
No, so you don't add them together. You just take each individual die. And so the 11 is a success, so you succeed. The 20, however, is a critical failure, which creates a complication in this case. And so here's what you find out. You are able to isolate what you're looking for in this tissue. You know that there are there's actually scores of viruses at play here, some of which you recognize, some of which you don't, and you suspect they've been genetically engineered. The complication is that there are so many of these viruses that to find a cure, you're going to need to sequence them. You're going to need to sequence their genetic makeup. To do that, it's going to require some serious engineering know-how. It's not just a medical task. It's actually an engineering task to sift through all this data and find a way to make sense of it.
Lieutenant Research, I have a problem here. I did identify the sequence that may be the reason for our suffering here. But I mean, by the first look, it seems like a sequence out of bubonic plague. I'm not sure if you're familiar with that earthly disease, but the last about 30% of that sequence is just not very familiar to me. I've never seen anything like it, and it seems like we need to devise a scanner that may find the match that would allow us to engineer it or manipulate it somehow so that we could come up with a cure.
I can certainly help with that.
Oh, fantastic. Well, we're going to need some serious engineering here. And we need to build a tricorder that's, well, about 20 times more powerful than the tricorder that I have access to right now. So we're in big trouble here. Could you help us with something? I mean, so we have to come up with a device that could help us sequence here.
You're asking me to take a medical tool that's been in development for over 200 years and make one that's much better overnight.
Well, the resolution and the scanning speed is at issue here. So, well, we're going to need a whole lot of computing power. That's what I'm saying. and
It's not a problem.
here's my tricorder here, and then we have a couple of them here, but we're still lacking about 23. So I don't know how much how we'll be able to come up with a processing power that large.
Okay, let's get to work
Yes.
on it then.
So as you guys start to turn your attention to coming up with a way of sifting through all this data that you're going to access, the double doors to the quarantine med lab swish open, and two figures walk in. One of which is Lieutenant Commander Holm, the Chief of Security, played by Miguel of Starbase 23, and he is accompanied by a Romulan woman who is wearing kind of a very utilitarian coverall that looks like it might be something that would be worn by someone who does physical labor, like a freighter captain or something along those lines. So Lieutenant Commander Holm, if you'd like to introduce your character and how you feel about bringing this Romulan woman who says she has denounced her citizenship in the Romulan Star Empire into this situation, go right ahead.
Sure. Lieutenant Commander Holm is basically around age of 40, grew up in a frontier world, basically was a non-com and then actually came into Starfleet at a later age, has a wife and kid, all that, and what he is going through right now, let's see. This is more along the lines of having to go with his value as Starfleet as the ideal, and more importantly, there needs to be trust going on. So, Holm is going to basically take the Romulan woman's words seriously, hence why she's now down here, I assume. And it's very much a tense situation, but yeah, I mean, for God's sakes. The commander and the rest of the bridge crew basically have a super virus, and if this doesn't get resolved, they die.
Yeah, absolutely. So you guys step into this med lab, and the entryway, you're able to get access to the entryway, but as soon as you take a few steps into the room, you realize that there have been quarantine force fields set up, so you can't get all the way, you can only get a few steps into the room. And when Kacia steps through the room, this Romulan woman, her name is Kacia, when Marin sees her, he immediately gets up and moves toward her, but they're sort of separated by this energy field. And she kind of hunches over and looks closely at him and says, "Are you okay, Marin? Are you, have they been treating you well?" And Marin responds affirmatively. He says, "Yeah, I'm okay. I think I'm going to be all right."
I'm going to look at the other two and see if they have made any progress. So, Doctor, any luck with the antivirus?
Well, we're in a bit of a pickle here. We need some serious processing power because we were able to actually get a tissue sample and identify the sequence that seems to have been engineered by those, excuse my language, damn Romulans. He looks very uncomfortable by the Romulan lady.
Yeah, Kacia stands up and looks at you, and she says, "I am a patriot, but I know that the perversion of science that created the viruses that you are now looking at, that it was a mistake from the beginning. And I'm just sorry that I ever contributed to it in any capacity."
I really have nothing to say to you. And then turns to the lieutenant commander and says, so we are lacking major processing power. And Lieutenant Research has been helping me, but I'm not exactly sure how far, what more we have to do. Because, gosh darn it, I'm a doctor, not an engineer.
Uh-huh. Take a hold of yourself then. More importantly, you are going to show proper respect and decorum when there is a civilian around. Secondly, sounds like we need to daisy chain this. Lieutenant Church, you were stationed aboard a starship docked here recently. Was that correct?
Correct.
Is it possible to link up with their computers to help process this?
I'm sure we can come up with something.
So we can try to do a sort of a daisy chain using multiple computers, not just the stations, but others that are docked.
Yep. Yep. If all we need is raw processing power, then we can probably create subspace links between the different ships in the area and piggyback off their processors.
Due to the nature of this emergency, I think the Admiral will be fine to allow this to happen, and the others will be okay with that.
If that's what we need to do, let's do it. Let's see if the Admiral can help us out.
Yeah, so Lieutenant Chisearch, you had worked on recalibrating the sensors of the USS Griffin, which is currently undergoing repairs at the station, and you were able to kind of make inroads with Captain Temek, the Vulcan commanding officer of the Griffin. If you wanted to contact him and ask him for help with some computing power, you can certainly do that.
I will do exactly that.
Okay, yeah. Captain, you get on the, there's like a computer interface mounted in the wall of the med lab, and you're able to bring him up on the computer, and he's absolutely understands the gravity of the situation and is happy to help. So if you would like to, whatever you, as the engineer, you tell me what you think it would take to sort of link up the computer processing power of the Griffin with that of Starbase 23.
Well, I'll deal with the chief engineer on the Griffin, and we'll set up a subspace link between the two computers. Fastest we can get.
Yeah, you bet. So that'll be a difficulty 1, probably reason plus engineering.
Okay, so we're talking about, where are we? 11 plus 4, 15, and difficulty 1. Let's just give it a shot. Oh, a 3 and a 2.
Excellent. So
both of which are underneath my discipline.
So that is 4 total successes then, correct? Two crits?
Yep.
Okay. So you needed the 1, and then the 3 extras all generate points of momentum. Yong, momentum is sort of a meta currency in the game that will kind of allow you to either buy bonus D20s on particularly important roles. It can also do some other cool stuff later. I also have my own currency as the game master called Threat, which I use to basically make bad things happen to you guys to kind of ratchet up the tension of the story. So Lieutenant Chisearch, you are not only able to establish the connection between Starbase 23 and the Griffin, you generate 3 points of momentum. You can either bank those for later, or you can somehow improve the quality of your success.
Okay, if I spend some of that momentum now, can I get a better link or a faster link, or
Yep.
So something that will give me a benefit when we come to actually roll for the successes for the analysis?
Absolutely. If you want to spend 2 of those 3 points of momentum, you can create an advantage, which you can, it will reduce the difficulty of the task to actually sort through all this data on the genetic material of these viruses, if you want to do that.
I will do that.
Okay, cool. So now that you have the 2 computers linked up, it will, instead of a difficulty 2 task, it's now going to be just a difficulty 1 task to sort through. You now have access to just an absolute sea of data on the entire genomes of scores of viruses. And the way that you're going to find a cure for all of these is somehow sifting through this data. You can tell me both, any of you can tell me how you're going to sort of search and destroy the parts of the genomes of these viruses that you're going to need to target with therapies.
Basically, the doctor's assumption is that the virus that's been engineered is based upon an existing virus, and then there ought to be some sort of a noticeable pattern that is out of ordinary. So he's going to try to isolate a specific sequence that stands out as a artificially engineered portion. So once that's done, he's going to use CRISPR, clustered repeating interspersed palindromic repeats, and then snip out that particular segment, replace it with something that renders that virus null, thereby creating a cure.
Yeah, so Dr. Stanislov, you recognize that some of the genetic material of these viruses seems to have some kind of artificial stamp that you think is an artifact of the Romulan technology that helped create it. And so it's going to be a difficulty 1 task. Any of you can perform it, and you can kind of tell me what attribute and discipline combination you want to use that will allow you to isolate that genetic stamp and develop some kind of therapy to cure it.
Melvin Stanislov will use his medicine and reasoning to identify the sequence, and
Okay.
he would let me roll that.
So it's and also if one of you wants to assist on the roll, you can do that as well. So it's difficulty 1.
I rolled 9, and then the second roll I got 20 again.
Okay.
Does my roll need to be medicine as well, or am I looking at
No, your roll does not need to be the same attribute and discipline combination. It can be anything that kind of makes sense to you.
So I'll go with reason and engineering then.
Okay.
So I'm looking at it from the point of view of the algorithm that he's using rather than trying to understand the medicine at all.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I'll throw in that 3rd point of momentum for an extra dice.
Okay, cool.
So we have... Oh boy, 14, 17, and a 12. So that's sorry, I only roll 2, don't I? Beg your pardon, because I'm assisting.
Yes, correct.
So 14, 17. So that's 1 success.
1 success. Okay, and Dr. Stanislav got 1 success, and you got a success. So you generate 1 point of momentum, but that 20 that Dr. Stanislav rolled creates another complication. So you are able to isolate the Romulan artifact in the genetics of these viruses, but you realize that when you cure it, there's still going to be some symptoms that persist. So the complication is that you guys are all kind of suffering from kind of flu-like symptoms unless you can come up with a way to get rid of that complication. So you're not dying anymore. You've discovered a cure to keep you from dying, but you still kind of feel cruddy for a little while longer.
So, Lieutenant Commander Holm and Lieutenant Research, I got a good news and bad news. The cure that we just administered, we were able to isolate it and stop us from dying. That's a good thing, right, sir?
It is a good thing, Doctor.
But, Lieutenant Commander, I got a bad news. It seems like it's going to have a major side effect. I'm afraid I wasn't able to completely remove all the toxic effects of this virus altogether. There are certain effects that I just simply could not isolate because they seem to have Romulan in its origin. And as you know, their viruses are rather strange when it interacts with our physiology.
I can live with it for now, Doc, but I'd really like to get rid of this cold.
I'll work on it, sir.
Yeah, Dr. Stanislav, so there's kind of 2 ways you can go about this. You currently have 1 point of momentum. It takes 2 points of momentum to cancel out a complication. So you need 1 extra point of momentum to do that. You can also succeed on a difficulty 2 task to take care of a complication. So it's really up, or you can just let it ride. You guys can just kind of suffer through some chills and muscle aches for a while longer if you like, or you can take some action to cure this.
Well, because he's taking ownership of this particular affliction, I think he's going to try to, take that double, was it double difficulty?
Yep, it's a difficulty 2 task.
Okay.
It'd probably be reason plus medicine, so you need 2 successes. You can spend your point of momentum to get an extra D20, or you can pay me threat to get an extra D20.
May I assist, because Stanislav is near, the point of breaking down. Can I do a sort of a command insight or presence command?
Yes. It would be, if you're trying to sort of talk to him to keep him focused, it's probably going to be presence plus command. Yeah.
Okay, will do.
So you roll 1d20.
Okay, so I need to get 18, and that needed to be a 12. Off by 1.
Okay. So role play for me how you try to get him to focus, but it doesn't quite work out.
Well, then, it depends on all of this, because I am trying to be very much sort of understanding about the situation, but I assume Stanislav is at the brink of, like, tearing up and all of that. So it's like one of those things where you're so worried you can't even listen. So, what did you get, Stanny?
Yeah. Dr. Stanislav, would you like to buy an extra D20 for this roll?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Do you want to you can either spend your point of momentum or you can pay me another point of threat.
Okay, I'm going to spend the momentum.
Okay, cool. So you now have 3 D20s. You need 2 successes to take care of this complication of these flu-like symptoms.
Okay. Here we go. 10, 15, 9. So he rolls under reason plus medicine, which is 14.
Okay, awesome.
He succeeds. Yeah.
Cool, yeah. So you were able to sort of concoct some kind of remedy that masks the symptoms that you guys are suffering from. So suddenly you guys are like feeling, you're feeling back to 100%. You're no longer dying. Your skin is kind of returning to its normal color. The veins are receding. You're feeling much, much better.
Lieutenant Research, how do you feel, sir?
I'm starting to feel way better. Thank you very much, Doctor. Way better.
I am very relieved.
Good work there.
What about you, Lieutenant Commander Holm?
I'm relieved that both of you are going to be fine.
It's been an honor to work with you all. I am just overjoyed that we were able to get out of this alive.
So at this point, Kacia stands up and she says, I appreciate all you've done for Marin. There's another clone that was scheduled to have been jettisoned from the laboratory in Romulan space and entering the neutral zone. I think maybe she's already there. I know I'm on thin ice here, but I really hope that you'll help me find her.
We shall be able to help, but you're not working alone on this, correct, Kacia?
I'm afraid it's just me on my freighter.
Mm-hmm.
There's my colleague in I was once part of the Shiar's scientific research unit. I worked for a scientist named Dr. Virtalin, and originally we were looking for ways to genetically alter Romulan soldiers to make them physically superior, but that quickly turned into ways to clone humans and turn them into viral weapons. It turned into basically a biological weapons unit. And the further Virtalin spiraled into weaponizing genetics, the more I realized it was a mistake. And so when these children, these human children were cloned and developed to shed all these viruses, I knew that I couldn't watch them suffer anymore. So one of my colleagues put them into modified photon torpedoes and sent them across the neutral zone into Federation space. You guys discovered Marin. There's another one, this time a girl who's scheduled to be entering the neutral zone as we speak.
Okay, that explains the freighter backstory. Okay, I'm going to suggest we get a runabout going. You two are fit for duty, are you not, Lieutenant and Doctor?
Yep.
Well, then.
Lieutenant Commander, I have a suggestion. It's rather a concern. May I speak to you in private, please?
You may. And we both step to the side.
Well, the Romulans, these folks have engineered viruses and they tested, they used and cloned these small children to weaponize them and bring us these terrible disease. And for this woman to have participated in it and to come to us at this point, it just looks mighty suspicious. I wonder whether if this is part of a large trap to inflict even greater harm upon us all.
One thing you must realize, Doctor, is that you are wearing a Starfleet uniform. We have to take people at their words. We also have to help as well. Even if they are trying to kill us. We may be enemies with the Romulan Empire, but that does not mean that Romulans themselves are all evil. Kacia,
I understand. I understand, Lieutenant Commander.
We have a child who is strapped to a torpedo that we need to pick up. Now that you have synthesized a cure, I'm sure we are not going to have the same sort of situation we originally had, Doctor. Is that all?
In the meanwhile, I think it would be best for us to come up with a vaccine so that they would not get infected in the first place, because it would take us a little while for the cures to work, and it did take us a little while, and we had to suffer through it all. I'm not so certain that we'll be able to have this sort of success when we encounter even more genetically modified children. They could have mutated.
Yeah, I'll just step in here. Dr. Stanislov, you've worked up a cure that will help anyone that's exposed to these children. However, the children are, Marin is still shedding all these viruses, and you know from scanning him that sort of shutting off all the switches that are shedding all these viruses within all the tissues of his body is going to require a lot more work than just, you know, a couple of hours in a med lab.
Yes.
So, Lieutenant Commander, it seems like we're going to need a lot more work to do in the meantime. So I'll just return to the med lab and find out what I can do. But it's just a matter of time. I think I'm going to need a lot more resources and power from the...
More importantly, Doctor, she worked on the project. Seems like she will also have an idea of all the stuff that went into it, and she should be able to help you.
You don't suggest that I work with this woman, do you? I mean, she's a Romulan, for God's sakes.
And you're a doctor.
I
expect you to hold your tongue.
Yes, sir.
Okay, dismissed.
And the doctor returns to his med bay, and begins to work on the cure.
I guess I'm going to go talk with Kacia and see if she has brought some of the research over so that we can help try to eliminate the viruses that have been put into children.
Yeah, so Kacia does have some of this Mad Dr. Virtalen's files. Basically, to find a way to shut off these children shedding the viruses, it's going to take an extended task. And you realize it's going to be a fairly difficult one at that.
But she does have it, so it's at least a start somewhere.
Yep, and she is more than willing to turn it over for you. If you want, Lieutenant Commander Holm, as you're kind of interviewing her, why don't you give me an insight plus command task with difficulty 1?
I think I'm going to buy a threat so I can roll 3d20s.
Okay.
Two, 4, and 9.
Okay, so I'm assuming
that's command, and this is interrogation. So my command is 3. So I got 1 critical.
So a total of 4 successes.
Yep.
Okay, so you get 3 points of momentum, and as you've got a practiced eye at interrogation, and you detect genuine affection between Kacia and Marin. And you get the sense that her turning over some of these research notes, the Tal Shiar research notes, to you, this is a really genuine sign of sincerity, that she really means what she says, that she wants to help.
Good. More importantly, I think I'm going to have to suggest to her that she can request asylum, and that would gotten her credentials for freighter captain approved a lot quicker. She'll also be protected in case of, what is it? The legal term where you're trying to get someone from another country.
Extradition?
Yeah.
Yeah, she says, if you think that the Federation Diplomatic Corps would even consider granting asylum to a former Tal Shiar operative, then I will, of course, file for it. I appreciate your counsel.
Good. I'll definitely send your request straight to the Admiral. But for now, we need to pick up the other child. So, the chairs? Let's get the runabout ready. And I assume Kacia is going to want to go with us because she knows exactly where it is and is not going to tell us.
Yes, she says there's actually, I'm not sure if Starfleet sensors are sensitive enough, but there is a dark matter nebula just within the borders of the neutral zone near the planet Kacia 4. If everything goes according to plan, the torpedo containing the child should be destined for a planet inside that dark matter nebula. That's the kind of the easiest way that we know of to traverse the neutral zone without a bunch of sensor alarms going off.
If Kacia is coming with us, because
Yes.
we seem to both have a sort of connection to the boy, I'm going to see if I can sort of engage her a little bit, see what information I can get from her on her and her background and what the whole sort of project was about, and just whatever I can find. But I'm going to start by talking about the boy and kind of move on gradually from there. So I don't want to just to clam up.
Lieutenant Chasert, you were the one who rescued Marin from that freighter?
I was, yes.
Then I owe you my gratitude. Marin is very special to me.
It's what Starfleet does. So just what's the boy's background generally? I mean, we know virtually nothing about him. You say he was cloned, but cloned from what? From who?
Well, I know that the Federation has all kinds of laws and regulations governing genetic manipulation. In the Star Empire, we have similar laws, but the Tal Shiar rarely needs to follow them. As far as the stock that we used to clone Marin, it was kind of a combination of we mixed and matched various genomes to get the precise traits that we wanted that would be able to shed these viruses without the tissues succumbing to them. So basically, he has an almost perfect immune system that allows him to withstand these viruses, but still spread them to others.
So you actually tailored the children's DNA specifically to be able to carry all of these viruses, but resist them.
Precisely.
So would that mean that somewhere in their DNA is the immunity to all these viruses?
Yes. The problem is Dr. Virtalin administered regular gene therapy to these children. I didn't have access to all of his research notes. So without the continual gene therapy, eventually Marin's immune system will revert to that of a normal human.
Ah, so he could be in trouble fairly soon if we don't do something to cure these viruses once and for all, particularly in him and the girl. They're both going to die.
Exactly.
Okay, that makes it a little bit more urgent.
Yes. Am I with these two?
Yeah, absolutely.
What is this girl's name?
We called her Marin. We didn't really. These children were basically they grew up in separate hollow cells, they lived holographic lives that we programmed for them. They never met each other, they didn't know each other, but they grew up in cells just a few meters from one another. They lived in almost identical holographic scenarios where they thought that they were growing up on some sort of distant human colony world.
Interesting. So,
this girl has an almost identical genome, except that she is a female version. We thought that it might be valuable to have both males and females to better infiltrate the Federation in various ways, if it ever came to it.
Yes, well, it's neither here nor there. We have someone to go and rescue. So, Charis, how do you feel about the runabout being able to evade those Romulan sensors as we get into the neutral zone?
It's going to be tricky. It's going to be tricky. At the end of the day, if we violate the neutral zone, then we're the ones that are in a lot of trouble. The Federation, I'm certain, wouldn't disavow us, but we'd be in an awful lot of trouble with both sides.
Mm-hmm. Well, the situation is very urgent. So we will have to have a discussion with, I believe, the Admiral to see if we can be even allowed to do that.
Well,
time.
I'm wondering if Kacia might be able to help us. She is ex-Tal Shiar. She might be able to give us information that would allow us to at least evade the Romulan sensors for a while.
I would recommend, the reason we chose the dark matter nebula is because it's very difficult for sensors to penetrate. I would recommend getting into the nebula as quickly as possible. Of course, navigating and piloting in the nebula might be more difficult than normal space.
So normally in these situations, we'd come out of warp just on the outside of the nebula and going on impulse. Are you saying that we're better off if we actually go into the nebula at warp?
If you think you're up to the piloting.
Excuse me. I can try. I can try.
Well, just make sure the runabout is at top shape. I'll take the comm.
Well, what's the worst that can happen? We run at high warp into a super dense pile of gas and end up as a small explosion.
Another day.
Yep, another day in Starfleet.
Okay, so we are going to get that going. I assume the doctor is going to go with us to make sure the child is fine. And we are going to have you do some last-minute inspections on the runabout, Lieutenant. Make sure everything is good and that we don't become explosions.
I'm very tight on that sort of thing, sir. I like to make sure the ships are in good condition before I take them out. You may want to find somebody with a slightly more experience in con.
Yes, that'll be me. I had experience on the Cairo piloting shuttles, so don't worry about that.
I'll handle engines and shields. It's up to you to drive it, sir.
Good. Okay.
So all of you will be reporting to the shuttle bay and boarding the runabout along with Kacia. So we've got Lieutenant Chassearch, Lieutenant Commander Holm, and Dr. Stanislov and Kacia inside the runabout. Correct? That's the plan?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So we will cut to the interior of the runabout. You guys have, Lieutenant Commander Holm, you've successfully piloted outside of Starbase 23, and you can see it kind of receding in space behind you, this incredibly huge space dock style Starbase, and you angle the runabout towards the neutral zone. You've got the coordinates for the dark matter nebula. What do you do?
Well, obviously, the big question and the elephant in the room is not to crash into something that we die, right? So, one thing I'm going to do is make sure that piloting the shuttle is going to be fine. The other is to listen to Kacia and see where the coordinates is supposed to be, because she mentioned that it was supposed to land on a planet or be by a planet.
Yeah, Kacia says that there is a planet inside the nebula, and that is where the modified torpedo is supposed to end up.
Can she start Kacia? What is the torpedo? Are you able to at least give us the sensor configurations for it so we can be able to pick it up?
Yes, I absolutely can. The only thing that I would caution you about is because we'll be going into a dark matter nebula, they are notoriously difficult to scan with sensors. So I can give you the exact content of the torpedo. It still might be kind of difficult to locate on the planet. The good news is the planet does not, as far as we know, have any sort of intelligent life. So anything that looks to be, fashioned out of deuterium or whatever the hull of the torpedo is, there shouldn't be anything else on the planet that might confuse us.
Okay. And what does the computer say about the planet? Is it a Class M, breathable atmosphere?
Yes, it is. It's a Class M world. It's inside the dark matter nebula. The nebula seems to emanate some kind of radiation that creates the warmth and the meets the necessities of life. It's actually a verdant jungle world.
Okay, interesting.
Even though it's not actually near any kind of star.
Yeah, one of those an actual livable world. The odds of something like that is like so astronomically high that it makes Earth unique in real life. So yeah. So I guess what do I have to roll for this piloting? The warp in. Yeah,
so it's I will say it's either control or daring for your attribute plus con. It really, setting the course for the dark matter nebula isn't particularly difficult. It's only difficulty 1, but once you get inside this nebula, that's when things might start to get more difficult.
Okay, well then, I am going to use a momentum, and I am going to be rolling daring, because going in blindly sounds very much like what it needs to be. So let's do it.
Absolutely.
Is there anything I can do to assist with the sensors, sir?
Absolutely. You can co-pilot. You can use your engineering discipline if you like.
Sure. Well, I was thinking of rolling for the ship.
So yeah.
Sensors plus con.
You know what, Paul? I always forget to do this. I need to. I'll grab my book and look up the exact figures for the runabout. Just 1 second.
I can possibly find it in front of me.
Good news. 3, 10, 1. 3 successes.
Oh, in that case, we won't worry too much.
We're not dead.
Yay!
Or organize up. Roll new characters.
I love the adventures where you don't die.
Yeah. Or we end up like in an Event Horizon scenario where our eyes are gone.
Okay, for a Danube class runabout, we've got sensors of 7 plus con is 2. So you'll need a 9 or lower for a success for the runabout.
How about a 6?
That'll work.
Cool.
Cool. I had a 3, 10, and 1. So.
Oh wow. How many total successes is that?
I guess 1 would count as 2 successes because it's critical.
Yep.
The 2 others were successful, so that's 4, and then his success of 5.
5. Okay, so you generate 4 points of momentum. So you've now got a total of 6. Your momentum pool is now full, and I have 7 points of threat to use.
I am thoroughly impressed with the flying there, sir.
Wait until we are done with this whole thing. So,
Melvin finally looks up from the back, and he says, "I think I refined the cure to be administered to whoever we meet, sir. I've got you. It's all ready to go."
Cool. Okay, so I guess we'll start trying to approach the planet right now.
Yeah, so just as you cut out the warp engines and come back into normal space, you are immediately surrounded by this sort of totally blank space. It is very tightly, densely packed gas that is dark matter. And so I'm going to spend 2 points of threat to create a complication called dark matter radiation that will drastically limit your sensors and navigation. So you really, as you look out the viewports in front of you, you really can't see anything. It's like completely dark. So the good news is you think you've found the right dark matter nebula. The bad news is finding the planet that this torpedo will be waiting for you at is going to be pretty difficult.
The Charis, you worked on the USS Griffin sensors, right?
Yep.
Think you can use what you learn on the Griffin on this runabout?
I can give it a try, but there's got to be something that we need to look for in the nebula.
Well, we have the Starbase database on what comprises that planet. We also have the unique materials used for the torpedo. So you have those to work with.
I'll ask Kacia. Was the torpedo under power when it entered the nebula?
No, it was basically that would have set off sensor alarms for the ships that monitor the neutral zone, and so it was basically just what do you call it? The inertia that was going to carry it through.
So if we're going to have problems finding something through this dark matter radiation, there may be another way of finding the torpedo, which is basically to sniff for its tailpipe.
Well, if we could figure out the entry point, we might be able to figure out its trajectory based on the fields that we're under right now, because there's nothing that's powering the rocket. So shouldn't we just be able to calculate it?
We need at least 2 points that we know the torpedo's gone through.
Right.
And then we've got to take account of any sort of gravitational effect.
But Kacia here might have an insight on which direction it was launched. So if it's in a particular quadrant that it made its entry, then we might be able to plug in the entry point and figure out the trajectory.
Kacia goes to console and brings up what was the projected trajectory of the torpedo. She says that this is the plan. In reality, it might not have been exactly this way, but this is going to be pretty close. So how can we use this projection to figure out where it is now?
Well, if we've got the starting point for where the torpedo entered the nebula, that at least gives us somewhere to start searching from. Then I'll see what I can do with the sensors to see if we can pick up any sort of particulates that the torpedo may have left behind it. Maybe find a trail.
I can plug in the possible coordinates, and we could narrow the search there. I have some experience in calculating trajectories of celestial bodies. So should I get to calculation, sir?
You may.
Let's work on it together, Doctor.
Yes, sir.
So you guys can use reason plus science or reason plus engineering, if you like, to sort of take this computer's projection and see how that might translate to reality. One of you can attempt the task, which means you roll 2 d20s. Another one of you may assist, which means you only roll 1 d20. You've got 6 points of momentum as well.
I'll go ahead and try to figure it out using reason and science.
Okay.
13 is my target number. I got 11 and 9. So success, both of them.
Okay.
Yep.
Cool. That you needed 2 successes.
help.
Lieutenant Research, you still can try. Maybe you can generate. Oh, actually, you're full on momentum. So
Yeah,
it
I
doesn't
was
matter.
thinking we're full on that.
Yep. Okay. Cool. So you needed 2 successes because of the dark matter radiation. But yes, Dr. Stanislov, you are able to calculate with some certainty the path that the torpedo took through the nebula. So you'll now need to pilot the runabout in that direction, which will also have added difficulty because of the dark matter radiation.
Cool. So, at least we got something working now. So, what's the next step?
You'll need to pilot the runabout in the direction of the projection that you guys just worked up.
Okay, so
that will be difficulty 2. You can use control or daring plus con, and I'm going to spend 2 more points of threat to create a dark matter eddy that suddenly buffets the runabout, and you guys feel the deck kind of pitch beneath your feet. So this will increase the difficulty from difficulty 2 to difficulty 3.
Okay, then I'm spending 3 momentum to get 40 20s.
Okay.
The Cheris increase their inertial dampeners. We got some turbulence.
Okay.
So I'm going to roll for the runabout, and that is engines 7. It's a 9. And you get no help from the runabout, but one of you may co-pilot if you like, and assist.
So that'll be what, control and con?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'll give that a shot.
Control or daring for me?
Yeah, you can use control or daring because this is kind of a tense situation.
Daring because it sounds like risk.
I'm looking for 13 and got an 11, so that's 1 success for you right there, sir.
Okay, Lieutenant Commander Holm, you need 2 successes.
Okay, dice are very nice today. 10, 8, 11, 7, and my target number was 14.
Okay, so that is 4 success, a total of 5 successes. You needed 3, so you get 2 points of momentum back. You're back up to 5 total, and you are successfully able to pilot the runabout in the direction that you guys think the torpedo went through this nebula. And all of a sudden, this sort of dark black and kind of purplish cloud matter sort of separates, and you guys suddenly see this kind of purplish, translucent, glowing planet in front of you. It's actually quite lovely.
That's some quite a amazing piloting from both of you guys.
Well, that was a pretty good piece of engineering you did earlier on, Doc. Anytime you want to join me in engineering, feel free.
You're too kind, sir.
Okay. Cheris, are you able to do a sensor sweep on the planet?
Will do.
So that'll be difficulty 2, probably reason plus con or reason plus engineering. Difficulty 2 because you're still in this dark matter nebula.
I'll always go for the engineering. And I think because we need to do this, I'll hit up a point of momentum.
Okay. So you are down to 4 points of momentum. And I have 3 points of threat also, just FYI.
Okay. So a 5, a 1, and an 8. So that's 4 successes overall.
4 successes. You needed 2. Okay. You get 2 points of momentum back. You're now full at 6. And you are able to locate on the surface of the planet what you are almost positive is a metallic device that fits the description that Kacia has given you of the torpedo.
It's right there, sir.
Okay, good. Let's go and pick up our child. Doctor, I expect you to be able to do a medical scan to ensure that the child is fine because I assume the child had a very rough landing.
Yes, sir. I mean, that's what I would assume as well, but it seems like the torpedo's hull itself is intact. So I'm not so certain whether if well, let me go ahead and scan it for you, sir. And then he does his thing. What do I roll?
Yeah, it'll be reason plus con, and it'll be difficulty 2 for you as well. Actually, you can use medicine since you're, in particular, you're scanning for life signs.
Okay, I rolled 9, so that's a success.
You need one more.
15, which I fail.
Okay, so because of the radiation, you're able to pick up, first of all, you're able to pick up a lot of life signs, both plant and animal, all over the planet. It's difficult to tell because of the radiation if there is a human life sign in particular down there.
There are a whole lot of life signs down there, sir. I think they're interfering with my signals here.
Okay, and Lieutenant, I assume that this would also affect the transporters. I'd rather not risk using transporters in this radiation, so we'll be doing a landing.
I guess I can try and check it out, but a landing seems the safer way.
Indeed.
Yeah, you're almost positive that using transporters in this dark matter radiation would be more difficult than usual as well.
Yes.
But then again, so is piloting. So it's really up to you guys to pick your pick the path.
I think we're just going to do a land and get that going. So let's go.
I'm probably less familiar with transporters than you are with piloting, so.
Don't look at me. I don't know a thing about how to operate those darn transporters. I'm a doctor, I'm not an engineer. But I think I can monitor the position of the landing gear.
Yes, all we need to do is find a good landing spot and we'll disembark.
I want to check something with Kacia first. I want to
Yeah,
find out, because we've been exposed to one of the children and been cured, does the other child pose a threat to us still? Are we effectively immune to their viruses now?
Not immune, but because she would carry the exact same viruses. You've discovered a cure for the viruses that the boy carried. It's almost certain that the same cure would work again for you.
I'm just wondering whether environment suits are the order of the day.
That might not be an unwise precaution. Okay.
I'm going to find the environment suits.
Cool. Yeah. So you guys, if you care to, anyone that wants to can don an EVA suit.
Does the terrain of the jungle planet even allow for
that? It looks like it's pretty dense plant life down there, but it doesn't seem like. I'll tell you what, it would probably impose a complication for a lot of any task that's like really physical. Wearing an EVA suit in this sort of gravity and dense environment, it might cause a complication there and add some difficulty.
Complications moving around or possible secondary infections. How do you feel about it, Doc?
Well, my take on it is that we've never been here before. And aside from the virus that we're exposed to, there might be other pathogens that could possibly harm us. And we don't know a thing about, what sort of microbes cover the soil in this place. So I would suggest that it would be the best course of action to don our environmental suits.
I'm thinking that plus any potential side effects from the dark matter radiation.
Yes, sir.
And well, let's get them done. And we'll also get Kacia in an environmental suit.
Okay. So you guys all have EVA suits at the ready to land the runabout someplace near. You'll probably have to find kind of a clearing fairly close to where you're picking up the readings of this torpedo tube. So that will be a difficulty 2. Control. I'm probably not daring this time because you're not in like a super tense situation like you were in the dark matter eddy. So I'm going to say control plus con, and someone may assist if they like, and I will roll for the ship. And no, you don't get any help from the ship systems.
At least it didn't critically fail. Okay, I'm going to buy momentum, so it's 3d20.
Okay.
I'll do my co-piloting roll as well.
Need 2 successes.
Nope,
Okay,
not from me.
Okay, well, good news is for me that I bought a momentum because I got a 13, 8, and 2. I needed to get on.
Cool. All right, so you get your momentum back, and you successfully land the runabout. You guys are now wearing EVA suits, and you open the back hatch of the runabout, and the first thing you notice is that everything is dark. There's no star near this planet, so, and plus it's surrounded by a dark matter nebula, so there's no real point of light in the heavens. Just the sky is completely black. But the hatch opens up, and you guys step outside, and you see that you are surrounded by verdant plant life. The thing is, it's teeming with plant life under the cover of perpetual darkness. The plants glow with phosphorescent shades of green and blue, an indication the plants subsist on radiation from the dark matter nebula rather than sunlight. You hear the constant buzz of wildlife in the plants around you. So the plants are literally glowing in these sort of purplish blues and greens.
Okay, I'll just out of interest, I'll try a tricorder to see if I can pick up anything that might lead us.
Yep, go right ahead.
Life science. So, what are we talking about?
Reason plus con. But what exactly are you looking for, Paul?
I'm just going to see if I can pick up any life signs. We may not have been able to pick up anything from the ship higher up, but maybe a little bit closer to the ground with a tricorder, I can pick up something.
Yeah, you can use reason plus con or reason plus sciences because you're kind of looking for bioscience.
I will go for the reason plus science.
Okay,
So
difficulty
14. 1. We got some spare momentum, so I'll burn 1.
Okay.
It might speed things up. So a 12, a 5, and a 1. And I needed 14. So that's 4 successes.
Okay, so that fills up your momentum pool again. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And you are reasonably certain that you know exactly the direction to go. You pick up a human life sign. It's sort of, it's weak. You think that maybe it's suffering from some kind of distress, but you know that it's going to be a little bit of a hike through the jungle to get there. But you know the direction.
Okay, this may take us a while, sir, but that way.
Okay, cool. Let's get going. I have the focus of survival, so I am in my element.
Cool. So as you guys set forth into this jungle filled with literally glowing neon-colored plants, we will take a quick, maybe 5-minute break.
Cool.
All right. Cool, guys. I'll be right back. I'm going to go get something. I just ran out of tea, so I'm going to get something else to drink.
Oh, yeah, that actually sounds good. Tea or coffee right now.
I'm back.
All right, we got everybody back?
I'm here.
Everybody except Miguel?
Okay, back. Just
Awesome.
getting my tea, sipping or whatever.
What's that?
Just waiting for the tea.
Ah. Earl Grey, hot.
I've just got to check on my wife, and she's watching us now. Hi.
Oh, no. Hi, Mrs. Paul.
Lorraine.
Hey there.
Hi, Lorraine. Okay, so let me reset the scene for you guys. You have just exited your runabout. You have bearing for where you have detected these sort of weakening human life signs. That's going to be a little bit of a hike through this jungle. The thing about this jungle is it's dark. The canopy of plants is like completely black, but the plants kind of at ground level are glowing with these sort of neon colors. There's life, there's animal life all around you. You can hear it in all directions. And as you guys enter the jungle, what are you thinking?
You know, Lieutenant, this reminds me of the time that I was growing up in New York. You know, right before I went to the academy, my friends and I used to go out and, there are these clubs that you can meet a lot of women. I always struck out, though. It was terrible, but this place, it reminds me of it.
I'm actually kind of stuck on how a jungle planet in the middle of a dark matter nebula reminds you of New York.
Well, it's dark, that's for sure, but you see all these glowing lights. We used to have what folks back from 21st century used to call it the rave. I don't know, it's quite a bit retro, but we thought it was hilarious.
No, never heard of it. Actually, this place kind of gives me the willies. And I'm used to Andor. There's lots of wide open spaces, not a lot of vegetation. This is a little claustrophobic for me.
Whoa. Well, we just need a little bit of music, I think.
How about Lieutenant Commander Holm? What's he think of his environs?
Well, to be honest, he basically was one of those yokels back in his world, so going out in the wilderness. So this is basically, somehow enjoying the job right now. That's the sort of thing.
So you guys are all wearing EVA suits, which is going to restrict your movement a little bit. Also, the darkness sort of imposes its own complication. Any task that requires eyesight is going to be at a +1 penalty. And you notice that Kacia, the Romulan woman who is with you, she's also wearing an EVA suit, but she pulls out a disruptor pistol. And she says, would you guys keep it down? Let's just focus on the task at hand, which is to save this little girl.
Okay, just a thought, but who gave the Romulan a disruptor pistol?
I'm former Tal Shiar. I know how to smuggle a disruptor pistol.
Yeah, I'm not even going to think about where.
The doctor eyes the Romulan very suspiciously.
Trust me, Doctor, if we end up in a firefight, you're going to be glad I have this pistol.
Well, I don't know. I'd rather trust a wild animal compared to a Romulan with a disruptor pistol.
Doctor?
Sorry, Commander.
No, she says, it's okay, Lieutenant Commander. And she hands the doctor the pistol, and she says, you can decide when and if I get it back.
Well, if you say so. All right, I'll carry this pistol for you, but I'm not so sure whether if you're ever going to get it back.
Actually, I think this is the point where I'm going to quote Federation regulations about how disruptors are illegal, because they're basically a war crime weapon, I think, is Star Trek. And I'll take it. And basically, deactivate it, because, yeah, it's going to be one of those things. But,
as you wish, Lieutenant Commander. This is your mission.
Yes, but more importantly, I rather we not have to get into violence. We have a person to save, so let's go.
Commander, I could burden the equipment. I mean, I'd rather have you free to, lead us through these dark places rather than have you carry this heavy disruptor.
The disruptor is disabled, and you have a standard issue phaser.
As you command, sir.
Mm-hmm.
So at this point, as you guys are sort of standing in the jungle having this conversation about who gets the disruptor pistol, something sort of kind of whips downward at you from the canopy. It's almost like it's almost too fast to even see, but it looks like some sort of long serpent that sort of whips downward and snaps at you with fangs and then zips back up into the canopy where it's almost too dark to see. What do you guys do?
Okay.
Oh my God! What was that?
Set phasers on stun. Let's get going.
I'm going to see if I can keep the tricorder going, just scanning for life forms. I'm going to suspect
it's going to probably be a lot better than our eyes, the Cheris.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you would like to take a quick scan, you can certainly do that. It's going to be difficulty 2, because there's just so much life around you in this jungle to figure out exactly what that was.
Oh, I'm not looking for what it was. I'm just looking to see if there's any more of it, and I suspect there's an awful lot.
Oh, yeah. So yeah, go ahead. It's going to be difficulty 2, and you can do, I don't know, reason plus con, reason plus science, since it's kind of a bioscience kind of thing.
So that's a 7 and 11, which is 2 successes.
2 successes. Okay, so you are able to get a sense of what that thing was because of its size and shape. It's a rather long serpent. It appears to be arboreal because obviously it's living in the canopies, and you detect that there's several of them in the treetops directly above you, probably like 4. And so at that point, we're going to go into the initiative system, which basically will, it assumes that the player characters get to act first. So any one of you 3 may act right now and tell me what you want to do, and we'll kind of go from there.
Get her the disruptor pistol. Get her the disruptor pistol now.
I assume Kacia was given a standard issue phaser instead. Is that correct, GM? Or should we spend a momentum to retcon that?
I'll let you do that.
Okay, cool. Yeah, because it is a legal weapon. So, let's see here.
Kacia now has a Type 1 phaser.
Okay, I think I'm going to try to coordinate the others to get into positions so that they are going to be safe. I think that would be presence and then command.
Sure. Yeah. So what exactly are you ordering everyone to do?
Get into positions. Basically, get into a formation where they're not going to get hit by those tree snakes badly.
Okay. So yeah, that will be we'll say a presence plus command, and since you're sort of creating an advantage, I'll say it's difficulty 2, because it's usually a difficulty 2 task to create any sort of advantage under normal circumstances.
Okay, cool. So then I'm going to spend 3 momentum because we got a lot. And roll 40-20. Okay, let me go see here. I needed to use command and presence, so that's 12. And let's see what I got. 7, 5, 12, 11. 1 momentum generated, or 4 successes. So beat the DC.
Okay, so you get two momentum back. You got 4 total successes?
Yes.
It is difficulty 2 task. Okay, so you get 2. You now have 4 points total momentum, and you are able to direct everyone to a nearby kind of outcropping of rocks, which might grant you some cover if one of those things acts again. So here's the initiative now switches over to these arboreal snakes, unless you would like to spend 2 points of momentum to pass the initiative to one of your teammates.
Well, it's up to the doctor and the lieutenant.
You've got the initiative. Do you want to pass it or let it slide?
I would suggest.
I'll go ahead and fire at the snakes.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. So that will cost you 2 of your 4 remaining points of momentum. So to fire at the snakes in the canopy, so usually a ranged attack is going to be a difficulty 2. Because of the darkness, it becomes a difficulty 3.
Okay.
So you have 2 points of momentum at your disposal, or you can pay into threat to buy extra d20s for. And any sort of ranged attack is going to be control plus security.
Oh, security. Okay. I'll spend 1 momentum.
Okay, so you now have 3 d20 to roll, and it is a difficulty 3 task. As Dr. Stanislov ducks behind one of these rocks, points his phaser to the canopy, and opens fire.
10, 5, and 3. Wow, 3 successes.
Okay, cool.
My target number was 11, and yeah.
All right, so there's a flash of orange light as you fire up into the canopy and hit one of these arboreal snakes. So I believe you have, there's a number of like little Starfleet badges next to your attack. Yong, what's the, do you see that little Starfleet Delta symbol next to your, under your weapons? Should be next to your Type 2 phaser. Yong, can you hear me? Do we lose him?
I think he disconnected.
I think he's gone.
Oh, okay. Well, that's an opportune time.
It's 3.
Yong, can you hear me? You're muted.
Can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you now. Okay, so
Okay.
there's a little Delta shield next to your Type 2 phaser under your weapons on your character sheet.
I actually, the character sheet was empty. It was blank, and I had to fill out the numbers that you gave me by hand.
It was the under the weapons. That part was blank too. I thought I filled that part out.
Yeah, it was blank.
Oh,
Hold on a
okay,
second.
no problem. So you will need to. I'll look up the. Sorry about this, guys.
3 dice for a Type 2.
Okay, so you will take 3 plus your security discipline, and that is the number of d6s you roll for damage.
Okay. So security is 2, and then what do I add to that?
You roll 3 more, so you roll a total of 5 d6s, and tell me what you get on each roll.
I got 5, 4, 4, 4, 1.
Okay, so you do a total of 2 points of stress damage to one of these critters.
Okay.
And I've got to put that down. Okay, so now the momentum passes to these creatures. Another one of these snakes whips downward from the canopy, and it tries to bury its fangs into the arms of Lieutenant Commander Holm. So this is a physical attack. So Lieutenant Commander Holm, I need you to make a daring plus security roll, and it will be opposed by this snake. You have 1 point of momentum, or you can pay into threat.
I'm spending that momentum.
Okay.
3d20. This is hand-to-hand combat.
Yes, sir.
And 12 and 2. The 2 counts as a critical because it's hand-to-hand combat. So that is 4. Let's see. Daring and security. Yeah, because that makes it a 16.
Okay, so how many total successes did you get?
4.
4. Okay, the snake got 2. So the snake whips down from the canopy, buries its fangs into the arm of your EVA suit, but doesn't get into your flesh. So it's stuck there for a second, which allows you to get in an unarmed strike. You can narrate that if you like.
Well, obviously, what is it? I always remembered one thing is in case someone gets attacked by like a wild animal, you always hit the eye.
Okay, cool. So yeah, and this thing has like totally black, lifeless eyes, but you're able to sort of box one. So go ahead and roll your unarmed strike damage. That's 1 plus your security discipline.
Okay, one thing is that I also have vicious, so that makes it 7, actually. 7 effect dice, I recall.
Okay.
Just a straight D6, so... Okay, I actually got several stuff. So I got a 6, 4,
Okay.
3, 5, 5, 2, and 6.
So that is, by my count, that's 6 points, correct?
Okay, yes, because 4 and 3 don't count, do they?
Yep, exactly.
Yes, so I got 2 successes with effects, which is the 6, and 2 5s and a 2. So yeah.
Okay, so any attack that deals 5 or more points of damage automatically deals an injury. So this creature is now injured, and it sort of falls down from its entire body, which is several meters long. This is a long snake, falls down and sort of wraps around at the base of these rocks where you've taken cover. And at that point, the momentum now shifts back to you guys. Paul, you can act if you like.
Sure. I'll take a pot shot at one of these things as well.
Okay. It'll be difficulty 3 because of the darkness.
Yeah, this is going to be tricky. So it's going to be, what was it? Control plus security. I'm going to need to spend a momentum just to be able to get a shot in.
Yeah, you've got 2 points of momentum currently.
Oh.
And I've got 3 points of threat. You can also pay a threat to get bonus dice.
I'm not feeling that threatened just yet, but the night is young. Okay, so 3 dice, and I'm looking for 12s. So 4, 5, and a 2.
Well done.
Yeah, unfortunately, none of those are below my discipline, so just 3 successes.
Okay, well, that's what you needed to hit one of these snakes, so you can roll your damage.
So that's 4 damage. So I've got a 5, a 6, a 1, and a 4. So that's what, 3 damage?
3 damage, yep. And what are the effects on, what do you got, like a type 2 phaser?
Yeah. Good question. Don't know.
It might be, I think it's you have to like call it before you fire it because it's a charged weapon. But I'll look it up to make sure. So that should be good to know.
If you want to move on with the other guys, I can look it up.
No, it won't be that. I got it like right here. Okay, type 2 phaser. Yeah, it's charge. So when the weapon has an adaptable energy supply, allowing its potency to be scaled to various levels. If the character performs a prepare minor action before attacking with this weapon, they may add one of the following weapon damage effects to the attack: area, intense, piercing 2, or vicious 1. So you have to take the prepare minor action and kind of call what you want your type 2 phaser to do.
Okay.
So we can do, from now on, that you can do that if you like.
I have a thought for next time then.
Okay. So that did 3 points of damage to one of the snakes. Okay, so there are currently 3 snakes up there somewhere, one of which has taken some damage, and the initiative now shifts back to one of them, who is going to attack the Andorian, who just fired up at one of his buddies. In fact, it's going to be that same snake, since it's still alive. So, Paul, why don't you give me, what is it, daring plus security, and this will be opposed by the snake's daring plus security.
Okay. Where are we? Daring 8. Oh, okay. That's probably the lowest combination ever. I'm looking for a 9.
The snake got 1 success.
Yeah,
so you
2 failures.
Okay, so we'll roll some damage. The snake descends like a whip down from the canopy and sinks its fangs into your shoulder. And this time it gets through your EVA suit and into your blue Andorian flesh.
Ah!
And it does 5. Okay. 4. Okay, Paul, so this does 5 points of damage. That could injure you. You can either spend your 2 points of momentum to avoid the injury, or you can spend your determination to sort of take the injury but fight on. And everyone has 1 point of determination.
We haven't got that much momentum left now, have we? I think we've only got 1.
That would be all the momentum you have. You can also spend into threat.
I'll do that. I don't fancy being injured just yet.
Okay, so I will take 2 points of threat, and you lose the 5 points of stress, but you are not injured. You're still able to take actions.
Okay.
How does Lieutenant Chisearch respond to having this arboreal snake sink its fangs into your shoulder?
Yeah!
Lieutenant, are you okay?
Yep, I think so. It's just a flesh wound.
What would you like? I think I know, but what would you like Kacia to do?
She's only got a type 1, hasn't she?
Yes.
Okay, well, let's see if we can encourage her to do what I was going to do next turn anyway, which is to switch it to wide beam, so area attack.
Okay. And let me make sure I know exactly how that works. Area. The attack affects a wider area and can affect several targets at once. The attack automatically affects any character or damageable object within reach of the initial target, and then one initial target within close range of the. So I'm going to say they're all within reach of each other. One more.
And I think it was. Oh, it's a minor action. So can she still fire?
Yep. She takes just a moment to sort of adjust the settings on her phaser, and she fires up. This will be difficulty 3. Do you want her to spend any momentum?
Yeah, why not?
Sure.
How many momentum would you like her to spend?
What have we got left at the moment?
We've got 2 left, so she can spend 1 to get 1 additional d20. She can spend them both plus add to threat to get a 2 bonus d20s.
Your call, Commander.
Do it. Might as well.
Okay, so she will have 4 d20s. She needs, let's see, control plus security. She needs a 12 or lower for her target number. So one of you guys can roll, so you know I'm not cheating. You've got 4 d20s, 12 or lower, and she needs 3 successes.
Shall I give it a shot?
Good.
15, 10, 12, and a 6.
Oh, success.
So yeah, you got your 3 successes. So she can roll damage. It'll be 4 d6s.
So that's 1, 1, 5, and 1.
4 points of damage.
All damage. Wow.
Oh, and that's area, right? So it affects all of them.
Yep.
Cool. So you hear a bunch of hissing as the 3 remaining snakes all take damage on that. She sort of widened the beam, so it hit a bunch of them up in the treetop.
That was what I was hoping for.
Okay, so the one remaining arboreal needle snake will take its turn, and it's going to go after the doctor. So, Dr. Stanislov, I need you to give me a control plus security task. And you're going to need 2 successes.
Roll 1 and 1. 2 ones in a row.
That's 4.
Holy cow. Okay, so you generate 2 points of momentum, and you're able. Tell me how you're able to reverse the attack on this tree snake as it lances down at you.
The doctor flails his arm somehow and then trips back, and as he falls down, he miraculously drags down a vine, and one of the branches fall on top of a snake.
Awesome. Okay, go ahead and roll damage for me. It'll be 1 plus your security.
Okay.
And D6s, and then tell me what each roll is, and I'll kind of translate it for you.
2, 6, 4.
Okay, so that's 3 points of damage, and I'll apply it to. So yeah, the branch sort of snaps back at this snake that missed its attack on you, and actually pierces it through some of its vital organs, and it falls. It also kind of coils down to the ground dead. So it looks like right now there's only 2 snakes remaining, and that is the end of the first round of combat. So initiative shifts back to you guys.
I'm going to do what Kacia did last turn. I'm going to turn the phaser on wide beam and fire up.
Okay, so it'll be difficulty 3, daring or control plus security.
I don't suppose we've got any momentum left anyway, have we?
You do. You've got 2 points of momentum because the doctor rolled 2 criticals on his last on his last task.
Oh, fantastic! The doc's a good engineer and a good fighter. Okay, I'll burn one of those for an extra dice.
Okay.
Oh, 18, 16, 13. That's 3 misses.
Okay.
How do you miss with a phaser on wide beam?
Yeah, so the snakes must have sort of coiled in the darkness, and then they came back into the zone after you missed. Okay.
I'm an engineer, not a fighter, damn it.
Paul, you can spend your last point of momentum plus pay 1 into threat to pass the initiative to one of your teammates, or one of the snakes can go.
We'll hang on to the momentum for now.
Okay. So one of the snakes
for the next shot.
We've got a snake that's now going to go after Lieutenant Commander Holm, and I'm going to spend some of my threat to get some extra dice, and I will tell you what you need to get in a moment.
Okay.
Control plus security. Okay, 1, 2. Okay, so that is 4 successes. You're going to need to get 4 successes to fight off this snake, and it is daring plus security.
Okay, I am going to spend a momentum and threats.
Okay.
I can get 40-20.
Okay.
And let's see, I need 4 successes as a 10 to hand, so I just need, let's hope I roll under 5s. Oh, thank goodness. My daring is at a 16, so I had a 14, 2, which makes it 3, and a 5, which makes it 5.
Okay. So tell me how you fight off this snake as it lashes down at you from the treetops. And you also gain a point of momentum back.
It's one of those things, because actually I was prepared, going to be using my turn just to get into a defensive stance and just bonk these snakes whenever they were coming. So Holm is just going to be relying on basically, the Kirk method of Starfleet fighting, hand-to-hand combat. Of course, I can't have my suit rip or I die.
There we go. Yeah. Well, so the last snake did tear through the sleeve of your EVA suit. So maybe like the sleeve is kind of torn off. And we can see your chest a little bit.
Yeah, it's the Kirk chest thing.
Absolutely. So go ahead and roll some damage on your melee attack that succeeded against the snake.
Okay, I got a 1, 2, 4, 3, 6, 2, 4.
I'm sorry. I say that again. A 1,
2,
okay.
4, 3, 6, 2, 4.
Okay, so I got 6 total. Is that correct?
Yeah, I mean, 1s and 6 counts as doubles, right?
What? No, a 2 counts as 2. 1 and 6 count as 1s, but a 6 also adds an effect.
Okay, yeah, because I remember something about effect. So 2s count as 2s?
Yes. A 1 is a 1, a 2 is a 2, 3 and 4s are 0s, 5 and 6s are 1s, but also add effects.
Yeah, it's because of the special die. Yeah. Okay, cool. Now
So
I
got
know
a total,
that.
Yep. So I got a total of 6, and that will injure one of the 2 remaining snakes. So it falls from the treetop as well. I'm going to spend 2 points of threat to retain the momentum. So the last snake can act again. And it is going to try to strike the doctor. I'm going to buy an extra point or an extra die. Okay, doctor, you are going to give me, you're going to need 2 successes, and it's going to be daring plus security.
Uh-oh. My target number is 9. I got 6 and 17.
Okay, so that snake got you.
Yeah!
Yeah, 1, 2, 3. Okay, it does 3 points of stress damage to you as the snake whiplashes down from the treetop and bites at you. So you have a total of stress that's equal to your fitness plus security.
So that's 10.
10. Okay, so 3 of those points are gone. So you're down to 7 stress, and the snake kind of whiplashes back up into the trees. The momentum now shifts to you guys. There's 1 snake remaining.
Okay, I think.
Can I strike back at the snake?
You can certainly try.
Do it.
Okay. All right, he's going to pull out his phaser and shoot at it.
Okay, it'll be difficulty 3. You have 1 point of momentum remaining, and it is a ranged attack, which is control plus security.
Okay. 11 is my target. 5, 13.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Was that 3 successes or not?
No, 2 successes.
Okay, so you miss. The snake has already taken its turn on this round, so the momentum stays with you guys. I think the Lieutenant Commander Holm and Kacia have not acted this round.
Okay, Kacia can act.
Okay, what do you want to do?
Shoot the snake.
Okay. You have no more momentum remaining, but you can pay into threat if you would like her to get a bonus d20.
Might as well.
Okay, that gives me a total of 2 threat. So she's got 3 d20s, and her control plus security is 12, total of 12.
Cool.
One of you guys can roll for it, so you know I'm not screwing you.
So target number is that. So let me just roll 3d20.
Yep, target number is 12.
I got an 8, a 1, and a 20.
Okay, so you got your 3 successes. She is able to hit, so you can roll 4 d6s for the damage.
Okay, 2, 1, 6. So that is 4.
Okay. What would be an appropriate complication for rolling that 20, do you think?
The weapon breaks is always fun, but we all have to dodge because it hits a tree.
Oh, yeah, that's actually brilliant. Yeah, so she actually hits the branches of one of these trees. So I'm going to have all of you guys give me probably a daring plus security task, please. I'll roll it for Kacia. We'll say it's difficulty 8. You need 1 success. Well, you need 1 success.
Can I roll any other combination than those 2? No, I'm joking.
Fitness?
I'm joking.
Fitness? Kacia makes it.
Yeah, I'm standing still. As the branch comes down, I just go.
All right. Lieutenant Commander Holm and Dr. Stanislov.
I got 2 successes. I needed a 16. I got a 15 and 9.
Okay.
Target number is 7. I just rolled 2. Do I have to roll it again?
No, 1 success is enough.
Whew, thank
So, Lieutenant Search, you lucked out. You actually, the branch falls, and because you're wearing the EVA suit, gives you a little extra padding. It doesn't do any damage to you.
Whew. I'll pick myself up off the ground though.
So I think Lieutenant Commander Holm, you still are yet to act this round. The snake is still alive, but it's been hit a couple times by phaser fire.
Okay, I think I'm going to just get into a sort of Overwatch stance so that if it tries to hit one of the members of the party, I can just intercept. So I think that's creating an advantage.
Sure. Yeah. Give me. Well, let me think. It's probably going to be command.
Mm-hmm.
What attribute do you think you ought to use?
It's going to have to be an insight, isn't it?
It could be.
And an insight. So let's see. I need to get.
You need 2 successes to create an advantage.
Oh, I got 2 successes on my god. So does that create a momentum?
You got 2 successes. Two successes is the target. So if you got 2, then that's just what you got.
I'm in for the last roll.
No.
Okay. Let me just spend a threat. 3d20. I need to get under 13. And nothing. Wow. 14, 16, and 17.
Okay. So we go to the 3rd round of combat. There's 1 snake left up there. The momentum starts with you guys, since you're the good guys. Any one of you may act.
I'll take a shot.
You have 1 point of momentum.
Okay. I'll drop the phaser back onto narrow beam.
Okay. That's your minor action.
Yep. I'll burn the momentum for an extra.
Okay. Difficulty 3.
Oh, dear. Yeah, I'm just going to holster the phaser. 12, 16, and a 20.
Yeah, you're still a little dazed from having been hit by that branch, and you're not quite able to pull together for a successful phaser attack in the darkness.
Yeah, I'm like...
Now, Paul, you may either pay 2 threat to keep the momentum, or the snake gets to act.
Sure, I'll pay the threat.
Okay. I now have, I'm back up to 5 threat, and 1 of your teammates may act again.
Well, then I guess it's going to have to be.
Is anyone hurt? Well, aside from the doctor himself. Yeah. Okay.
Well, let's go and. I guess I'm going to do a martial arts attack on that snake. Is it possible?
Yeah, you betcha.
Back up
I mean,
there, right?
so you'll have to climb the tree. Because you guys are in an EVA suit, I'm going to say you can climb the tree as an action, but you wouldn't be able to attack it until the next round.
Commander, we can shoot at the tree and make the tree fall down.
Make it happen then, Doctor.
Yes, sir. And then he fires at the tree. That's
okay. So I will say, because the tree is a big object, and so that will be only a difficulty 2 to hit the tree rather than difficulty 3.
Okay. So what am I rolling for? Control plus security?
Yes, sir. And you need 2 successes.
Okay. 8 and 5. Succeed.
Cool. So roll your damage dice, and I will say you need at least 4 damage to knock down the tree.
Okay. 3, 1, 2, and what else? 1 more, right?
Yep.
4.
4. So that was 3 damage. So you take out a big chunk of this glowing bark on the tree, but you don't actually knock it down.
It's a tough tree. It's a tough tree, Lieutenant.
The snake will now act, and will go after the doctor who just fired the phaser. It's attracted to the phaser fire. I'm going to spend 3 points of threat. Okay, so that's 3 successes. So you need, Dr. Stanislav, you need to give me a daring plus security task. You need 3 successes to fight off the snake.
Target number 9. Got 11, 1 failure, 2, and 4. Yeah, I failed.
Okay, we'll roll some damage. So that does 4 points of damage to you. There are 4 points of stress damage. Anyone who has not acted this round may act.
Okay. I'm going to try to create an advantage again, so let's do that.
Okay.
Is the snake on me at the moment?
Would you like it to be?
Well, I mean, it came down and bit him, so I'm wondering
the way
whether
I've been narrating the successful attacks is they sort of bite and then they snap back up into the trees. But if you think it would make more narrative, dramatic sense to have it kind of stuck on you, you can certainly do that.
Then it's folded the doctor away as he's screaming.
That'll be funny. Yeah. Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that'll be cool.
Yeah, so the snake is like stuck on your upper arm right now. Its fangs have sliced through your EVA suit.
Help me, Lieutenant! Help me! Ah!
Okay, then. So I'm going to go ahead and hit that snake.
Cool.
What do we have for momentum and threat?
I have 2 threat. You have 0 momentum at the moment.
Oh, I'm spending a threat then.
Okay.
Or buying one.
So this is a melee attack you're attempting here?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And let's see here.
The snake got 2 successes.
And I got 2 successes and a 20.
Okay. So go ahead.
What happens with a tie?
The tie goes to the aggressor, which in this case, the attacker, which is you. So
Okay.
go ahead and roll your damage.
Okay, cool. Okay, I have 5.
Okay. 5 will kill the snake. So you can narrate that for me if you like, Lieutenant Commander Holm.
Okay, since it's a 20, we were able to get the snake off him, so, you know, punch it and all that, but it starts falling off with its back, so with that 20, the doctor and I are going to get pulled.
Get pulled?
Yeah, basically, you know, we're going to get pulled by the snake as it's falling down.
Oh, okay, yeah. So the snake,
yeah,
the snake tries to wrench itself back up into the tree. That's sort of its dying act, and it pulls you guys kind of off your feet. So I'll have both of you give me control plus security tasks. You need 1 success.
It's a tie. Actually, it's a fail. It's a fail. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I rolled 11 versus 9.
All right. Lieutenant Commander Holm.
Oh, no. I got the good rolls now. I succeeded, but I got a 20.
Okay. So, Dr. Stanislav, you take 2 more points of stress damage as you sort of yanked off your feet and hit the ground with a hard thud. Maybe you hit your head or something.
Ah!
The complication, because Lieutenant Commander Holm rolled a 20, is that as the snake was pulled free from Dr. Stanislav, one of his fangs remains inside your flesh. And you think that if you're not able to remove it entirely, you know, it could lead to some kind of poisoning or infection.
Lieutenant, I take it back. It's nothing like New York. And then I don't feel so good, sir. I think there's a fang stuck on me.
So the snake, it's the fang is broken off, has it?
Yes, sir. It's still here. Can you see
Okay.
it? Can you see it?
Well, what should I do, Doc? Do I pull it or do I leave it?
Well,
if I pull it, you could bleed.
yeah, I don't want you to just yank it out at this moment, but I don't think I can go on like this. I have some emergency medical kits here. I think I'll be able to patch myself up if you with your assistance.
Let us remove the fang and cauterize the wound so that we can stop the bleeding. We have the equipment for that, so let's get that going now.
So he attempts to heal himself or tries to stop the bleeding.
Cool. So first aid is going to be reason plus medicine with difficulty 2.
Okay. So reason plus medicine was 14, and I just rolled 1. Okay. And oh my, and 1.
Okay, so you got 4 successes. You needed 2. So you are able to generate 2 points of momentum, and that is the end of that scene. So because you're able to successfully give yourself first aid, you remove the fang. At the end of the scene, if you are not injured, which no one is, you get all of your stress back. So it's a brand new scene. You guys have survived the attack of these arboreal needle snakes, and you guys all get all of your stress back.
Awesome.
Yeah, I'm still feeling pretty stressed.
Yeah. Well, then let's get going.
Yeah, so you guys start moving back in the direction of the human life sign that you guys were able to detect from the runabout. And eventually you guys stumble onto the torpedo casing that the child would have been inside. It's empty, but you're able to see, you see no signs of any sort of, there's no blood or anything that leads you to think that there's any sort of serious injury from the landing. So you follow the life signs even further and you discover that there's a cave.
Okay, I'll see if I can scan inside the cave with the tricorder.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, difficulty 1, reason plus either con or science, I'll say.
Okay, so 14 I'm looking for. A 12 under 20.
Okay.
So,
so
there's something else in the cave.
You are almost certain that there is a human child inside this cave. The life sign is weakening, and you get the sense that it has suffered a similar attack to the one you guys did, that it was maybe attacked by these arboreal needle snakes.
Okay, it looks like we need to get moving, guys. Doc, we're going to need your medical kit.
Okay, hustle, man. So...
I'm right behind you.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Could I do a fitness and command to get everyone to start hustling quick?
Sure.
Cool.
Yeah, difficulty 1.
I'm spending a momentum because this is important.
Okay.
I needed to get a 15, and I have 3 successes.
Okay, so you get that momentum back, and you generate 1 more. And role play for me what you do to motivate the away team.
Okay, well, basically, I am now going full on, sort of a squad leader, like a non-com sergeant, just getting them to hustle, move it, keep pace, suck in the gut, all of that fun stuff.
Right behind you, Commander.
Yeah, indeed.
So you guys go into the cave as quickly as you possibly can, and you discover that, yes, there is indeed a what appears to be a human female child who's sort of on the precipice of death, but is still alive.
Doctor, if you would
Lieutenant Search, if you could calm her down. As you know, I'm just terrible with children. So here, I'll take care of this wound for her.
I'll see what I can do, and we'll get Kacia to help as well.
Yes.
She probably knows the child.
Yes, she immediately, kind of charges into the cave and starts trying to comfort her. But it looks like, she's basically unconscious and on death's door.
Okay, so Melvin attempts to heal or assist the kid.
Oh, okay. So first aid First aid is daring plus medicine with a difficulty of 1. I had it wrong earlier, but I just looked it up.
Oh, okay, daring plus medicine. That's 11.
Difficulty 1.
Difficulty 1. Okay. I just rolled 12, and daring plus medicine was 11. So, yeah, he fails.
Okay, can I assist?
Okay, go ahead and roll 1d20.
Do we have a momentum this time?
Yeah, you've got 3 momentum.
Okay.
Commander, we're
I'm going to
losing
spend
here.
both. I'm going to spend all the momentum.
Okay, you get 2 d20s.
Okay. Yes, I got 1 success. I
Okay.
have daring at 11 and medicine at 1, so I needed a 12, and I got a 1 success.
So yeah, you guys work together to save the child. The problem is, because it took you maybe a beat longer than it needed to, she is unconscious. She's not going to be able to get back to the runabout on her own. But it appears that she's been stabilized.
Yes, she's been stabilized, and she can be carried, correct? Yeah, I'll basically carry the kid.
Well, I'm pretty useless with a phaser, and you're way better than I am, so I'll carry her.
Yes.
Are you sure, Lieutenant? I mean, we could give the child to Kacia here because, you know,
I'm probably
she's
stronger.
All right, as you say.
Or we can take turns, but I think the commander should keep his hands free.
I suggest we get back to the shuttle as soon as
I
possible.
agree, Commander.
So let's move like we got a purpose.
Yes, sir.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so you guys are able to double time it back to the runabout and make it successfully without incident. The hatch to the runabout closes behind you, and you guys feel fairly safe for the moment.
Okay, set up a quarantine room for the kid.
Yep.
Doctor, keep an eye on your patient. Jairus, you're with me. We're getting out.
Sounds good.
Mm-hmm. And I assume Kacia is going to be with the child, so...
Yeah, she hasn't taken her eyes off of her.
Okay.
One concern that I have, Commander, is that she wasn't quarantined on the planet itself. I'm just afraid that the virus might have spread into this environment. Is there something that we should do about that, sir?
Question is that if it was genetically engineered for these, some viruses do not affect other life forms, but they can become carriers, correct? But until we are able to synthesize an actual cure and save these children from the viruses they're shedding, we can't do anything on this planet yet. But duly noted.
Yes, sir.
So if you guys plan to exit the nebula and head back to Starbase 23, it will be Control plus Con with difficulty 2 because you're still inside this dark matter nebula. Someone may assist.
I'll do that.
This time the ship does give you 1 success.
Okay, I am going to go do the, what was it? Command, Con, and what?
Control plus Con.
Okay, co-pilot, you want to assist?
Yep, I've got 1 success coming you away from me.
Cool.
Okay.
So I just need to roll 2d20 and see.
So you've already got your 2
16.
successes, but you can.
I got a success. So
Okay. So you get 1 point of momentum, and you are successfully able to pilot the runabout back to Starbase 23. What do you do?
well, we are taking this kid straight to the medical wing. I'm going to ask Kacia if it would be safe to have these two together. Doctor, how is the patient doing?
She has stabilized, sir. And I think she'll be able to come out of her coma soon.
Okay, so she shall be able to regain consciousness. Good. Okay, we're going to be docking at Starbase 23. I am going to notify the medical wing. We have a casualty on board. We need to have immediate area set up for our passenger and get that going.
Cool. So yeah, she's transported to the same quarantine med lab where Marin is currently residing. You guys are presumably able to use the same cure that you used the first time around after you've been exposed to cure yourselves and decontaminate yourselves. So you guys are able to move about freely on Starbase 23 if you like. And the 2 children are quarantined in the med lab in the infirmary.
Phew.
Yeah,
Good work, Lieutenant. I think I need a drink.
Oh, now I like the sound of that, Doc. Come on, let's hit the bar.
Yes, sir.
Cool. Well then, you all did splendidly, so dismissed. I guess I gotta go report to the Admiral.
Yeah, hold on just 1 second. Let me look something up.
Okay, but I figure I would also need to bring in Kacia with me.
Yeah, so as you guys, as Dr. Stanislov and Lieutenant Chisearch, presumably you'd be going to the main concourse if you're going to go to the bar. The place where most Starfleet officers hang out is called Captain April's, and that's sort of a bar lounge area on the main concourse. You notice that mostly it's Starfleet themed decor. There's a bronze statue of a Captain Robert April, who is one of the first captains of the USS Enterprise NCC 1701, the classic Constitution Enterprise.
Cool. First round's on me, Doc.
It was quite an adventure that we had down there in the nebula.
It was a little bit, and I found out you're a good doctor. You're almost as good an engineer as me, and you're a way better shot than me.
Oh, you flattered me, sir. I thought the snake was going to kill me. And I thought I was going to just have a good time in the neon light. Oh, boy, was I wrong.
Yeah, and I've got to find out more about New York, just to find out why you think snakes still remind you of New York.
Well, snakes don't, but neon light certainly does. Anyway, I think the area that snake bit me is finally healing a little bit. Well, thanks for the help. Without your help, I think I would have been in terrible trouble there.
Anytime. Your round.
All right.
Lieutenant Commander Holm, as you are heading toward ops to report back to the fleet admiral, you're stopped by a familiar face, this rather small in stature Ferengi, Grelka, who runs the Starview Cafe on the main concourse. And he says, Lieutenant Commander, a moment of your time, please.
Yes, Grelka?
I've heard some disturbing rumors. As you know, I hear everything that goes on the station. Rumor is there's been some kind of viral outbreak. I just need to know, should I plan to evacuate?
Well, Grelka, there should be nothing that should be worrying. I mean, what does the stock market say to you?
Well, sometimes the stock markets don't change when the insider information stays on the inside. So, you know what I'm saying? Maybe you could throw some bones my way, and I don't have to tell anyone about this extremely virulent Romulan plague that you guys have stowed away up on the med lab.
It looks like it's going to be along the lines of a give and take here. And let us see here.
Mostly give on your part, mostly take on mine.
Yeah. Well then, Grelka, let us see. I am going to grab a data pad. Can I? I'm trying to figure out if there is something along the lines of, well, let's see here. More along the lines of, like, maybe there was a shipment of Romulan ale that was quarantined but could be diverted from Starfleet Medical to the Ferengi.
Hey, I know exactly what I might be able to do with that. I'd put it to good use, Lieutenant Commander.
Yes. Just to keep things on the down low about that.
Yeah, your secret's safe with me. Can I just have your thumbprint on this pad to officially transfer custody of this Romulan ale to the Starview Cafe?
Let's say it's for medical purposes.
Of course.
Yeah, get that going. It's one of those negotiation things to just get that.
Okay.
And try to avoid a catastrophe.
Mum's the word, Lieutenant Commander. Thank you.
No problem.
All right, cool. Well, that's where we'll end the session for tonight. It's almost 11 o'clock here in Iowa. So you guys, just to recap, you guys were able to successfully rescue this second clone and get her into a quarantine med lab without any sort of huge viral outbreak on the station.
Yeah, and I've learned that outside of engineering, the lieutenant is just awful at most things, particularly shooting.
Oh, man.
I think I need to be downgraded to a phaser type 1, or I'm going to put a hole in something.
Well, we've taught those trees a thing or two, boys.
Yeah, we were in the middle of a jungle. I didn't even hit the trees.
Well, it was a dark jungle, Paul.
Yeah, I think I need to spend more time on the phaser range. Sure.
Cool. Well, I'm going to hit stop on the broadcast right now.